Hi, this is Katrina, and this is my ClusterFuzz project. Alright, first I'm going to show my clustered UNC file share. So that was created with the file server role. And I'm going to click here over in roles. We can see here it's cluster access. This is where the client would access the file share, is this cluster access. Then you have it running perfect. Right now the owner is Fuzz1, so that's the one I'm on right now. It's my Windows Server 1. And you go over to nodes, we can see Fuzz1 and Fuzz2, so my other Windows server is also up and running. So that right here is my clustered file share. And we can see down here, this is where it is on the File Explorer. It's in the E drive and shares. Alright, now that I'm on the client, I will be showing a cluster failover while in the middle of a file share. So I'm going to do first, enter here, cluster access / shares. Here we are, just have to log in. Perfect. This is our shared folder that's on server 1. So we can take a look. It's also on server 2, but I'll just show you on server 1. Here it is, the cluster storage. Ignore the double share folders. Here we got some folders I had made. And just to show that it's working, I can just make a folder here, test. So we see here, and we can see it's now popped up on server 1 because it's the shared folder. And these are all folders of sounds my 1-year-old nephew makes. He really inspired me to do this. Alright, so this is on my workstation here. I have this folder, so I'm going to drag and drop in here. And while this is downloading on here, I'm going to go over to server 1 and shut it down while it transfers over to server 2. It should still be up and running. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag this in here. Wait for it to start. Hop over here. Pause. Drain roles. So while it's draining, it will go over ClusterFuzz server 2. So you look at here, look at the roles. It is now Fuzz 2 that has it, because this one is paused, and it is still going on here. Alright, so now it's on here. We can go take a look at file server 2. So now that we're in Fuzz 2, you can see the roles. It is now owner still. And from this point of view, Fuzz 1 is paused. It's not working, but this one is up. And then we can also see here in the cluster storage, this is the one we had transferred. So yeah, as you can see here, we can't see the E drive because this node is paused. So we're just going to unpause. It rolls back. It's back up and running. And now it has access to the E drive again. So see here, and here is the folder that we transferred over. Alright, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a text file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a text file in the share folder here. Just write some stuff, not too much. And then go over to Windows Server 1 and fail it over there. So what that should do is I'll come back here and I should be able to save it and edit it without it disappearing or anything, because the share folder should stay up the entire time. It should not go away. Say texting. I'm just going to open it up and write some gibberish. And what we're going to do is we're going to quickly go over to roles. And we're going to click move, and we're going to move it to Fuzz 2. So it's moving. There's a slight delay as it's transferring over, but we are still able to type and edit. And then we can also save. Saving. All while this was moving over to Fuzz 2. Show you my topology with my network diagram that I created. It is not the best, but I tried my best with Visio. I couldn't get the box around it working, so I just had to draw it myself. So excuse the wonky lines. So start up here, we have the client named Fuzz Client. and we have its one NIC, which is the LAN. It's in the 192.168.0.0 subnet, and that is connected to the client access. So that's where like the share folder is, which is also in the same IP network, the LAN. Then this client access is connected to the ClusterFuzz cluster. So this is what this box is the actual cluster itself surrounding the two servers. So the name, I named my cluster ClusterFuzz in honor of this project. And it also only has the one NIC, which is the LAN NIC. And next we have the two servers here that are clustered, Fuzz1 and Fuzz2. They have 3 NICs, the LAN, storage, and data, all with different subnets. So the LAN is for connecting everything in the domain. The storage is for connecting, the shared storage from the iSCSI, from the TrueNAS, and the data is for just between the two servers here. And then finally, those are both connected to the TrueNAS server, which has also has the 3 NICs, although the data is kind of unnecessary. I just had it in there just in case. But mainly what it uses is the storage for the iSCSI disks. And then it also I have the ZFS pool, my cluster pool. So I also have the 2 Z volumes, my 12 gigabyte disk cluster pool vol, and my 1 gigabyte Z vol, my quorum. So that is my topology. Again, very simple. Sorry for going up and down so much. Visio is not my strong suit. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at the quorum drive. This cluster uses the disk witness in the quorum. It uses the 1 gigabyte iSCSI disk that we created in TrueNAS. So if we look here in storage and disks, it's here disk 2, it's a disk witness and quorum. And it's using the quorum disk, and it's the Q drive. So if we go into disk management here, we can see quorum here, and it's the 1 gigabyte disk. I guess you can also see that here basically. So basically the quorum drive, it's like a voting system. It helps the cluster decide which node should be allowed to stay online if communication is lost. There's 2 nodes with the 1 witness, so it will just vote for whichever one it thinks is best. And with that disk plus the node, it should help maintain the quorum. I'm in the TrueNAS server web browser here, so I'm logged in. So using my IP, this is the LAN IP. So I'm just going to show you the iSCSI configuration. So I'm just in sharing here, block shares iSCSI. So here we look at the portal. Here we look at the portals. So this is where the iSCSI listens. So it has here the IP address. This is the storage IP it's listening on. Now we're on to the initiators group. This defines which systems your servers or nodes can connect to the target. So this is, I'm using the authorized network of my storage subnet. You can also allow all if you'd like, but right now I've just done the authorized network of my storage. Here is the allow all initiators if you'd wanted to. It could work, but I just wanted to keep it simple just with my storage. So there was no authorized access we had to do here because this is a bit step too far for us right now. But the targets, this is the cluster target. So this is the name of the iSCSI endpoint. So this is what the nodes of servers would connect to get to the storage, the iSCSI storage, which is also known as the extent. This is the storage itself. This is for the cluster for it to share, those 2 servers to share. Then this is for the quorum, because it had to be separate. So if we're looking here, it's using the cluster pool that we created along with the cluster volume. That is what it is using for the storage. And then same thing with the quorum. It's using the cluster pool and the quorum volume that I created earlier. Associated targets is the bridge between the target and the extent. So the target and the storage. So you have here the cluster target for both of them here, because these will both be a part of the cluster. And so if you have it on the cluster target just here, when you connect you with the nodes 1, node 2, so server 1, server 2, when that connects to the cluster target, it automatically adds these 2 here. These will be visible. So you'll be able to make up the witness quorum disk as well as the shared cluster storage. So this is my ZFS pool. It uses RAID Z. It uses the 3 disks here. So 1, 2, 3. They're all the 10 gigabyte ones. So it provides redundancy while it maximizes the storage. So if one disk fails, the pool remains online with no data loss. If we go back out here, this pool holds 2 volumes. These volumes are what connects the iSCSI extents. So as I said with calling on the storage, they are directly connected to here. So this is where my cluster 1 was, and this is where my quorum was attached to. They're all part of the same pool though, so it's all just like one together storage. So the clustered storage used by Windows is also protected at this disk level. All right, and that is my ClusterFuzz project. It was more simple, I believe, than Dobby. I think that was a common consensus around the class. Dobby gave us some problems, but after figuring that out, this was more of a walk in the park, even with the TrueNAS. The first time ever seeing it, first time ever using it. It was pretty cool. Thank you.